Everybody, this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report and Virtual Roadshows. This panel is about how destinations are catering to the cruise market because ports are now a major part of the cruise experience. In this panel, tourism officials will share what their destinations offer, from island attractions to cruise line private islands, and how to sell the destination as a key part of the journey. So we have with us today from Tourism Australia, Karen Stotz, the Aussie Specialist Trainer-Eastern U.S.A. And we also have Francisco Blanch, Director of Leisure Sales for Discover Puerto Rico. Two very different destinations, but both have ports. And how do we use them to help sell travel? That's what this is about. Let's start off before we get into the actual cruise part. Let's just talk about your destination. Karen, tell us about Australia.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me, Alan. Yeah, so Australia, I mean, it's a massive ancient land, lots of different natural wonders, unique wildlife found nowhere else in the world. We've also got a very rich and diverse marine environment, lots of beautiful white sandy beaches, rugged rock formations, lush rainforests. We kind of got a bit of everything. We're a whole continent after all. And our cities, I mean, there's fantastic restaurants, there's lots of different cultural activities. And then there's, of course, our indigenous culture, which dates back 60,000 years. So there's a lot to choose from and so many places to explore. So a cruise is really an excellent opportunity to, get around and see the best of Australia really easily. There's itineraries offered from 3 nights up to 30-night circumnavigations. And there's a whole range of cruises from contemporary to luxury to expedition. So really, whatever Australian experience your clients want, they can do that during a cruise or by adding a pre and post land tour.
All right, we'll get into the details of that. And now for Puerto Rico, just give us an overview, and then again we'll drill down and talk about cruise.
Puerto Rico has to offer history, culture, ecotourism, amazing places to visit and see, mountains, beaches, you name it, it's all there. It's
And
contained
the
in
part about the U.S. Territory.
and of course being a U.S. territory, that's right. It's a major convenience for U.S. citizens and for also legal residents. And for those who combine the United States and Puerto Rico, it's a domestic flight as well. They don't need to do immigration again, coming into the island or getting back to stateside U.S.
That's really great. But now let's talk about the cruise aspect of your destinations. In Australia, why did you start to focus on the cruise market? How many cruises a year visit roughly, and who are the brands that are visiting?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are a big island, so we've got, 30,000 kilometers of coastline to explore and 50 cruise ports and anchorages all around the coastline. Last year we had 60 cruise ships visit, making almost 2,000 cruise ship calls across the country. It's a really important part of Australia's tourism industry and generates almost $9 billion a year for the economy and supports about 26,000 jobs. Also, cruising introduces new travelers to Australia, people who like cruising in other parts of the world. It makes it super easy for them to come and, explore Australia, see parts of the country that might be hard for them to see with limited time. And some getting into some areas that are pretty inaccessible unless you're on a cruise ship. Also, a lot of passengers add on, as I said, pre or post touring. So if you do like a week cruise and then add on 4 nights before and 4 nights after, that's a really great 2-week vacation for people. And then many people come back to the destination that they've, discovered on a cruise, which provides another opportunity for advisors to earn great commission on an Australian land itinerary. Now, our wave season runs from October to April. So basically our spring and summer time. And that's when we have most departures. But we do have some cruises that operate year round or, in the northern part of Australia. They tend to operate between May and September when it's not as rainy, so we have a more of a wet season up in the north. So like our expedition cruises, like to the Kimberley region, which is a really up and coming expedition cruise destination. That's where those cruises operate. As far as brands go, Royal Caribbean, Princess, Carnival, Norwegian, Disney, Viking, Celebrity, all the main ones. And then in this coming season, we've got some ships home porting in Australia, like Royal Caribbean, Princess, Disney. And last season we had 5 maiden calls, just showing, how appealing Australia is as a premier cruise destination. So we had Silver Seas, Silver Nova, Norwegian cruises, Norwegian Sun, Princess Cruises, Crown Princess, Cunard's Queen Anne, and Pearl Expeditions, which is more of a, Kimberley type cruise. So lots of variety from small ships to expedition to contemporary ships. Yeah, it's a big destination for us.
Now, Francisco, a lot of those answers will be the same for you in terms of why Puerto Rico decided to focus on the cruise market. But let's talk about that, and then how many visits you guys get, and what are the brands servicing the islands over there?
Yeah, Puerto Rico has always been a port of call or a home port throughout, the history of cruising. So the focus on the cruises is important in developing the air routes as well. It definitely provides for the airlines for a more steady flow of passengers. So it helps secure the compression that they need on each flight to then sell the rest of the seats for other purposes, as we know, the advanced bookings and whatnot. So from that aspect is really important. The impact that the cruise industry has had in Old San Juan, particularly before we had all these cruises, Old San Juan did not look the way it looks now. It has created a microeconomy with a major impact in upkeeping, and Old San Juan has seen an evolution where the homes have been all redone, acquired by, more affluent people. Museums have developed, restaurants have developed. So that is important to have and to keep. So we definitely nurture that aspect of that, economic impact, which is really important.
Also, the cruise lines that are coming there must rival the list we just heard in Australia.
Yeah, actually, we get Disney, for example, has several sailings, Royal Caribbean. We have Princess Cruises came back after 10 years being away from Puerto Rico. Virgin is in as of last year. And then we have all those luxury cruises. We have Viking, Ritz-Carlton, Explora, Sea Dream, Windstar, Emerald, Azamara, Sea Cloud, Seabourn, Silver Sea. So it's quite an array of cruises, and the season is through November through April, more or less.
For a travel advisor that is working with so many cruise lines, there's a cruise line that's going to your destination, and they can continue working with their favorite cruise lines and still service your destination. So that's a point to be made. Let's talk about major cruise ports. I bet you Australia has more than Puerto Rico. Let's start with Puerto Rico. Your major cruise port you have already mentioned. Are there others? And what do those ports offer?
Well, we have San Juan, and the ships pretty much dock right in front of the old city. So there's a lot of, charm to that, and it's the first stop, right? And you want to extend that over across the bay to the distilleries. You can do mixology lessons or just visit the distilleries of Bacardi or Ron del Barrilito, which is becoming very, very popular. But we also have home port season and port of call in the south, in Ponce, which is more of a 19th century architecture, lots of museums, lots of historic buildings in the National Registry of Historic Buildings of the U.S. in Ponce for such a small city, which is very impressive. And we recently had the NCL mega ship that came for several stops in Ponce as well. And then some other port of calls in the archipelago include Vieques as well, which are more on the luxury cruises itineraries. But those are the two main ports, San Juan and Ponce.
And it sounds like on all three, you can just walk off the ship and you're in the mix.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Australia, what are the major ports? I'm sure there's more than we realize. And what do they offer?
Yeah, I mean, really, all the capital cities have ports. You know, so yeah, you can like circumnavigate the whole continent. But Sydney's obviously our top cruise destination. It's among, one of the best in the world. A lot of cruises begin or end in Sydney. It's a really unforgettable experience because you can see the icons of the Harbour Bridge and, the Opera House and, that iconic skyline. But also, when you're around Sydney, you've got all the attractions like, going out to some of the wildlife sanctuaries. Very easy to explore some of the arts and culture in the city, or maybe doing a First Nations tour with some of our Aboriginal people. The cruise facilities are really good. So we've got the White Bay Cruise Terminal, as well as the Overseas Passenger Terminal. So, there's really a lot of facilities there that can accommodate big and small cruise ships. And then, of course, you've got access to the whole New South Wales environment. The second one I'd say is Melbourne. So Melbourne's very different. So you actually dock outside of the downtown area at Port Melbourne, and because Melbourne's on a river, so you have to transit in to the city. But Melbourne's got lots of arts and cultural activities, very accessible. At the cruise terminal, there's like 3 dedicated cruise berths. And then, all of the different great shopping, great restaurants. It's a real foodie destination. And then in Queensland, you've got 2 really big ports. So you've got Brisbane. So that's the biggest city in Queensland, our capital. And that sort of blends cosmopolitan lifestyle with, access to places like Australia Zoo or Bluey's World, which is an up and coming destination for people with kids. It's a very famous cartoon that's taken off in the US. But lots of arts and cultural and theatres. And then up in the north of Queensland is Cairns. So that's really access to the Great Barrier Reef, and that's the 4th largest cruise destination. You've got reef and rainforest, 2 World Heritage areas coming together there up at Cairns. So I'd say those are probably our main cruise ports. With over 50, I could be here all day, but there's a lot of different ones to choose from, but those would be the main ones.
So we want to talk about, I mean, we've already covered some attractions and activities. So this is a catch-all question, just to have you go over it again. Francisco, what other attractions and activities can guests enjoy at your ports?
Definitely the El Yunque National Forest, which is an amazing attraction. We have a visitor center with all the information and a very nice restaurant as well. The views from the top of the mountain of the Atlantic are impressive among the green, lush, different tones. Waterfalls, ponds, trails of different levels of difficulty, 19 birds that are only indigenous to those mountains as well. That is definitely a big attraction. And then on the other side, which is right in the middle of Puerto Rico, I was there just 2 days ago with a family from Brazil, is the Toro Verde Adventure Park, which has the 2 longest zip lines of the Western Hemisphere. It's incredible to see, how much people enjoy that. The Monster, which is 2.5 kilometers long, you catch about a speed of 100 kilometers per hour, right in the middle of it. And the other different things that they have to do there, Carabalí, which is a farm that has ATVs, it has horseback riding. You have golf, you have beaches, more than 300 with names on them, and then there are many more that we still haven't named in the different keys. Also for those who like, going in the ocean, deep sea fishing, snorkeling, scuba diving. You can imagine all the different things. And then even though it's nighttime when you can appreciate this, but the bioluminescent bays also, which are incredible. We have out of five, there are three in Puerto Rico, five in the world, there are three in Puerto Rico. And the island of Vieques has the one with the highest concentration of the dinoflagellate that generates the bioluminescence. According to Guinness, it's the brightest in the world and is year round. So much of ecotourism, more than 4,500 restaurants in the Restaurant Association. Any given day, you're not going to miss breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's a great gastronomy as well. And, the Puerto Rican people, I think, they go out of their way to greet you, to make sure that you enjoy the island. They will take you to their home in many of the small towns, just to show you and to tell you, they're welcoming, they're very hospitable and very genuine. So it is great. And then the nightlife as well. I mean, we have La Factoria, we have La Placita. And in Puerto Rico, you enjoy nightlife with the Puerto Ricans. You just don't go to a club. You go to a place like La Factoria, which is a multi-story nightclub of sorts that has different bars in different places, and it's all colonial and old and new, and you are there with everybody. The streets are full of people. It's a lot of fun.
I didn't get the impression that you zip lined. I heard you said a lot of people enjoy it. Did you enjoy the zip line?
I enjoy watching people having a good time.
That's what I heard. Okay. All right. Now, Karen, let's go a little deeper onto the activities and attractions around these ports.
Sure. Yeah. So I briefly mentioned Cairns before, where the reef and the rainforest come together up in North Queensland, but there's a lot of adventure activities up there as well. Kayaking, whitewater rafting, exploring the tablelands, which is inland a little bit. That's like the food bowl of North Queensland. So lots of foodie types of touring up there. In Sydney, Taronga Zoo is amazing. It's right across the harbour, and it's where people can go and see a lot of our wildlife up close. They do behind the scenes tours, so you can, see kangaroos, koalas, Tasmanian devils, and so on. In Melbourne, if people want to see our little penguins, that's a really popular shore excursion. So those take place in the afternoon. You go down to Phillip Island, which is about an hour and a half drive, and there the island is connected by road, and you watch the little penguins come in every day at dusk, and they go into their burrows. So people can really get up close and see those little penguins. They're only about 6 inches tall. They're really cute and only found them. Well, actually, they're found in other parts of Australia, but Phillip Island has the biggest colony of those little penguins. And then outside of Brisbane, you can visit Moreton Island, where you could hand feed dolphins. You can go sandboarding, you can ride ATVs. So again, really close to Brisbane if people want that adventure type of activity. In some of our other ports, like Perth on the west coast, you can go out to Rottnest Island, which is a little island which has the famous quokka. A quokka is like a little tiny kangaroo that always looks like it's smiling. So they're found on Rottnest Island. Up in the Kimberleys, I mentioned before, that's more of like expeditions where you're coming ashore every day and seeing ancient rock art, Aboriginal rock art, and waterfalls, and just a pristine coastline. So there's a lot, but that's a few little snippets for you.
All right. In both cases, there's a lot to know. So we need to give the resources to the travel advisor for training and education. Where do they go for that? Francisco?
We have an amazing website, very easy to use. It has lots of information on every aspect. We even have, you can have your own playlist, and you can actually use a little device there to adjust it to the bass and the treble. I mean, as you would like to hear it. It's really very, very informative. And then we also have our Puerto Rico Travel Specialist program, which we have been promoting through you inside the Travel Report in many different uh, banners and ways. And it's really taken off. We have a graduation ratio of 81% at this point, in a platform that is very cutting edge. And we even have an app on the Androids and iPhones that the travel advisors can use. And we've done a lot of farm trips as well to train, educate, and show them. So definitely the technology and the reach is there, the information is there, and then we want to add the personal touch. So you can reach out to us directly, and you will get an answer right away.
Well, I love that we can help you too. So thank you for that shout out. Karen, what are the resources that travel advisors should be looking at and learning, and what kind of training and education do you offer?
Yeah, sure. We have a couple different things. So there is actually an Australian Cruise Association that has a great website, and we've got their 2025 brochure uploaded onto our booth at this show. So if people want to stop over at the virtual booth and download that, that would be a great resource. And then, of course, we have our Aussie Specialist program that's won many, many awards over the years. It's been going for almost 35 years, I think, or even more. So we have a Cruise Australia course or module as part of that, which is specifically all about, the types of cruising, the types of shore excursions, what you can do in these different ports. So it's all on that website, the AussieSpecialist.com website. If you're not already an Aussie Specialist, it only takes an hour and a half to get qualified. And then you have access to our FAM trips. We've actually got a FAM trip coming up in October this year. Of course, you can, complete the Cruise Australia course or any of our other specialist courses if you want to. If agents do want to complete that training by the end of August, and let me know, email me directly, and I will send them a little thank you gift. So I'm sure you're going to share our email addresses, but if not, it's at the booth. And yeah, so we've got loads of info, especially like I said, at the trade show booth. So we've got it all uploaded there for people to reach out and download all of our resources.
So we've been giving out URLs, but let's wrap up by just again, what contact information do you want to make sure they have, Francisco?
Yeah, they can reach out to me, Francisco.Blanch at discoverpuertorico.com. That would
And the
be
URL for the website again?
the website is Puerto Rico, discoverpuertorico.com.
All right. And then Karen, you for yourself?
Yep. So it's AussieSpecialist.com. And my email is kstotz, Stotz, at tourism.australia.com.
I want to thank both of you for being with us. I want to remind everyone to go to the booths, that they can get all this information from the booth. And then, of course, you now have a way to reach them after the booth and after the conference. So thank you all. And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report and Virtual Roadshows.